Well, Sixers had to work for it, but they're back on the winning track, taking care of the Wizards down in D.C. As we welcome you here to Sixers Postgame Live, proudly brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance, Amy Fiddle, Jim Lynam, and Mark Jackson. And Joel Embiid, nothing short of magnificent. He got a 50 spot, and they needed every single bit of it because they won 131-126. But he was doing everything on the court and then some tonight, Mark.
He was very dominant. You know, we expect this from Joel Embiid. I expect him to be a little out of rhythm, a lot of sorts for sitting that long. Thought it takes some time to build in it. He must have heard me like, hey, Big Mark, I got you.
Yeah, we talked about that on the pregame show. He hadn't played the last 2 games. It had been almost 9 days off fully. But, Jim, they had been practicing. You thought maybe he would be a little bit okay because of that.
Yeah, if you remember the previous game, Nick Nurse alluded to the time frame here, meaning they'd get a little bit of rest, you know, a good day and a half away from it. And then that they had the extra day. So I had a sense they'd get 2 real days of practice where they'd actually go up and down, in part to accommodate Joel's situation. And I think that had the, you know, the benefit. So he was probably a little bit more ready to go full blast.
Yeah, ready to go. Shot 68%, 50 points. No rust on the big man. Here he is with Kate Scott and ALLLL.
All right, great performance. Best of the season for Joel Embiid with his dad in attendance. Joel, you were just mean when it comes to taking on these Washington Wizards. You had 48 in the win over them in South Philly. What is it about this Wizards team that sets you up for success?
It's nothing against them. I'm just saying the flow of the game. Obviously, I had to be aggressive. They came out early, they were aggressive, they made a lot of shots, and we couldn't make anything, especially from 3. So, you know, the game, called me to be aggressive and try to attack every chance that I get, and use that to also set up my teammates. So, you know, I was just trying to be aggressive. It's nothing. I mean, I try to do it against every team.
Tell me a little bit about, you've been off, obviously, with a little bit of an illness. How did you feel out there? You look good, but how did you feel?
I didn't feel good. My chest was killing me. I was getting back a little bit. I started feeling a little bit better in the second half as far as my win, but you know, I was struggling. But I'm much better than I was because it was pretty bad.
So look out NBA is pretty much what Joel is saying without saying it. Joel, also great to have Kelly Oubre Jr. back. How much does his return mean to you and the guys?
It means a lot. Finally, we're all healthy. Having him back, having a few guys back. Now I've been missing the last few games. I think, you know, you could kind of tell. It felt like it was the first game of the season and it was a brand new team because, I mean, offensively and defensively, I felt like we weren't in sync. The spacing wasn't right, but you know, it felt like that was really the first game with everybody healthy. So I think we're gonna get better. Defensively we were really bad, so I'm looking forward to try to get better.
After having guys out for a number of different reasons, how good does it feel to have everyone back in the lineup?
Feels great. I mean, you want to be healthy, you want to compete against the best, you know, at full strength and see where you are. And I hope that in the next couple of weeks, into the end of the season, everybody stays healthy and, you know, we go on a run.
13th win of the season. Congratulations, Joel.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's important because this is the first time we've seen the Sixers with their full complement in a while. Kelly Oubre back in this one. He missed 11 games a month's time. So that was something I think really that we were all looking for. The Wizards on paper obviously are not as talented as the Sixers, but they gave up a pretty good fight. And maybe that helped the Sixers and kind of come together a little bit, Jim.
Yeah, I said at the top, Aim, that this Wizards team, there's no problem with their offense. They can score points. Their defense, that's another story. But, yeah, I think the fact that it was a competitive game, yeah, that helps the Sixers at the offensive end. You know, they had a good pace about them. They shared the ball. And getting Oubre back into the flow, I think, was a big deal.
Let's check out Joel Embiid's numbers. He's faced the Wizards twice so far this season. I'd say he enjoys this one, Mark, because he's got 48 and then now a 50 spot. Who knows? Next time, 52, 50. I mean, you just got to keep going up. The field goal percentage is what's so impressive, obviously, and it continues to be. 6th career 50-point game. He shot almost 68% from the field. Here at ALLLL, he only missed 9 shots. It's truly remarkable in a game like this. But they needed him 38 minutes plus after that kind of layoff to put up this performance is very impressive.
You know, Amy, when I look at Joel, Coach and I was just discussing, like, he knows certain aspects of the game, which means he's in tune. He's in touch with what's going on during the game. And believe it or not, some players don't go through that. Just go up and down, go through the motions, and they're not self-aware or aware of what's going on in present time. They recamp what happens after the game. And a lot of times it's too late. When all it takes for you to be on call on what's going on exactly at that moment, and you can make adjustments or follow what needs to be done when the team needs you.
Yeah, Jim, that's maybe one of the more surprising aspects that people don't realize about Joel Embiid. Yes, he shoots the free throws at an extreme rate for a man his size. We all know his field goal percentage and the way he can score, but he really is cerebral about his game.
Oh, with not just his game, and I couldn't agree more to the point that Mark makes. When you're focused and into the game to that level, I think that helps carry him among many, many other things where he's skilled. But that mental concentration is a factor in him performing at this level. The only other player that I'm familiar with, and really know who was like this was Charles Barkley. After a game, he could tell you he could recite it's literally a stat sheet without seeing one.
Yeah.
He knew who got rebounds. He knew who blocked shots. He knew who the top 3 scorers on the other team. And I don't think it was with the benefit necessarily of looking up at scoreboards. He just had a feel, and I see the same thing in Joel.
The one thing that we talked about how Joel Embiid's game has differed this year and improved is the assists. He's a career right around the 4.5 assist guy. This year he's averaging over 7 assists at this point, Mark. This offense that Nick Nurse runs really lends itself to him being that playmaker, and you saw that again on display. How important is that aspect of his game?
Amy, I have to be in all fairness. I know we want to give a lot of credit to Nick Nurse and the system he's implemented, but in my humble opinion, it's twofold. It's like, yes, Nick Nurse has put Joel in similar positions he's been in the last couple of years at the top of the key. So it's not really incredible like this musician has created this thing. Nick Nurse is a great coach. But I'm telling you, respectfully, James Harden not be on this team allowed more flow, allows more people to move and be a part of the even flow down the floor. And what's important that is not going to be looked over is the additions of Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre and the way Maxey's playing with confidence and giving a green light, Joel is able to play a different style of play because James Harden's removed and there's no more one person pounding a rock. And I think so. It's Nick Nurse deserves some credit, but a lot of deserve with addition by subtraction of James Harden not being in offense. Come at me if you want, people.
No, but it is like, the chicken or the egg type of thing because you can't have one without the other. You can't have Joel Embiid running this as well if you don't have the system, and maybe the system doesn't run as well if you don't have Joel Embiid doing it.
I think that's true. You can't just put the ball into a guy's hands, let's say 40, 50 times a game. I'm going to start doing getting some of our stat people just to get maybe the difference that Joel Embiid, without question, did he handle the ball in the past? Of course he did. How do you average and be the leading scorer in the NBA without touching the ball? But he's handling a lot more now because there's a lot less pick and roll, to Mark's point, with James Harden. And when you run pick and roll, by definition, if I have a ball and I'm driving off somebody, I don't want somebody cutting through the lane on me. I want the lane open so I can drive. So pick and roll play, people become more stationary. And if you're going to pass the ball and get movement away from the ball, that's the kind of thing you see Joe benefiting with assists and other players benefiting by moving.
Back here on Sixers Postgame Live with a look at Kelly Oubre's return. He missed 11 games, a month's time. 12 points, 10 of which came in the fourth quarter. Obviously a crucial stretch because the Sixers trailed for large chunks of this game. They had to fight tooth and nail to get in there. It was a very productive 19 minutes in his return as we check out our Yingling Presents Lager Up, and it is Kelly Oubre night. I mentioned that he played his first couple of seasons in Washington for the Wizards. But Jim, what did you see from him in his return?
Yeah, I thought particularly in that fourth quarter, Aim, he was really alive. We know this guy can score a ball. Here you see him getting that in the break. He much needed. This was anybody's game starting in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he brings such athleticism to that wing position for the Sixers. You saw him trying to call for that foul on the first bucket, but he's a guy that they really need to be productive. He started the season so well for them. Obviously, has missed that time, but now it seems like he could be that guy, empowering that second unit, Mark.
He can be. It's not if he can be. He is that guy. He is him, people. He is the best player we've had at that position in that role in many years. And I'll go way back. At least I'll go as far as, I didn't go whatever. But he's been that person for us. He is the person we have that is not just a specialist. He can score the ball at a high percentage and defend good enough to be effective in big-time games. You need him to start, you need him to take him off the bench. Him and Melton, me personally, I would love to see him and Melton come off the bench. Those two off that bench spot will be incredible in a rotation.
Who would you start?
We need another piece. We need to make a trade, get another piece to start the new piece, and have Melton and Oubre lead that second unit.
That would be formidable.
They'd be the best second unit in the league.
Because DeAnthony Melton had some really key threes, and this one has some key buckets at times. And that's the thing. It's the timeliness of it all. Let's check in with Nick Nurse after his team's win in D.C.
On a night where a lot isn't going right, just to have a guy like Joel that can push you to the finish line, just how valuable was that?
Well, obviously he was, carrying us at the offensive end. He was doing it in a lot of ways, and it felt like if we could play some sort of defense, we had an offensive, place to go, right? We did get a couple of key stops. The defense wasn't. It was just. I mean, I thought just in general we were out of sync. Just in general, and a little bit of that's the guys in and out, and I'm not sure guys are in great rhythm or even feeling still that great conditioning wise. Give them a lot of credit. I thought they played well, but to answer your question, obviously we needed all those from Joel tonight.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what was the most disappointing part about the defense tonight?
Just probably communication, right? I think there was. You guys probably saw a lot of wide open things, right? And that means there was a blown communication, somewhere along the line there. So I think there was a little bit of that, a little bit of on-ball defense, and then the help seemed to be, a stride and a half slow getting there. So just a lot of too much uncontested.
Was it nice to have Kelly back, and what did you make of his first game?
I was worried about him a little bit. I didn't think he was, I didn't think he was kind of in the sync or in rhythm. I was worried about him at the half, about what kind of rotation I was going to use with him in the second half. But his second half was amazing. I thought he was kind of the spark with the just a bunch of stuff. So. Really happy. I mean, I think again he gets to the basket. He offensive rebounds. He's out there, really showing and playing with his athleticism. I thought he was a really key contributor off the bench tonight.
There was a stretch in the second quarter when I think DeAnthony had an A1, then he made a three, and then I think he had a layup. I guess it's like, was that kind of a spark for you guys? Because I think you guys were down 10 at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly was. We got down 10, and I think we might have went on about a 10-0 run. It seemed like we got back to even, or 9-0, something like that, to get it right back to where it was. And that was totally key because we just weren't, again, if there's one of those games you're kind of watching it and you're going, geez, we're really having to work hard for not very good shots, and they're not working very hard for really good shots, and you don't want that to go on very long. And then finally we got a little run there, and I thought it was good. I thought, again, with him, I was a little worried about where he was, just how he was feeling and conditioning. I was trying to kind of get him in and out a little bit, but I think he looks, much more confident in the last couple games offensively. Like, he just really making a certain, when he's coming off a pick and roll, he's putting his head down, going to the rim with a quick decision. I think when the ball gets swung around to him, quick decision shot, like those things. So I think that's really a really big plus from tonight.
And then with Tyrese, it just kind of seemed like at halftime he kind of flipped a switch. He was much more aggressive in the second half. I guess what did you see from that standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's doing a good job of reading what's there. I think that again, they tighten up a little bit on Joel on the coverages, and that just gives Tyrese a little bit more driving space, and I think he noticed that and just took advantage of it, and I thought he did a good job of turning on the Jets and doing his thing.
Defensively, it looked like they were going into the floater range a lot, kind of taking what the defense was giving them, with Joel protecting the rim. How much of the shooting they were able to get was them just hitting the looks they were getting versus you guys allowing?
Yeah, really good observation. I think I said it to one of the assistants during the first half. I said, geez, they're shooting a lot of non-paint twos, but still I think we weren't nearly contesting them enough, right? They were just too much, too much space, nothing from rear view, and I think, you can, a lot of times you're saying we're going to live with those, but you still gotta like pursue the ball a little bit more on that kind of stuff.
At the beginning of the second quarter, what made you go with the all reserve?
Yeah. Again, it was just a funny game because there was no whistles in the first quarter, and I sent guys up and they didn't get in at all till the media. Then I sent some guys up and they never even got in at the end. So, and it's kind of like, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to go back and try to get to your rotation? And we just felt like we should get the guys we were getting ready to bring in. But another good observation by you.
Did you get to go with the thing that you hinted before pregame?
We did. We didn't do it very well, but we did create one key turnover there with about 3 minutes to go in the game. Yep.
Well, you heard him talking about, he was worried about Kelly Oubre getting a little bit out of sync, it seemed like, from the jump. But then, in the second half, he was our real spark, and he was when you're thinking about 10 of his 12 points in the fourth quarter. But defensively, it leaves a lot to be desired when obviously you let the Wizards score 126 on you, Jim.
Yeah, and you heard Nick say that, but I would concur wholeheartedly, Aim, that when you have your whole group back, you haven't had it. There's a lot of different combinations out there on the court together. And he said our communication was not good defensively, and that that's a big deal. Talking to each other out there consistently is a facet and a fundamental of good defensive teams. And tonight the Sixers didn't do it at the level that you have to be good.
Yeah, some of that could be probably attributed to the fact that they haven't played in a while. Their last game was on Friday. Obviously, they've had some practices, but it's a little bit different. But, I mean, of course, he was pretty pleased with his MVP having 50 points, Mark Jackson.
I mean, yeah, 55, 10, it's all the same.
No big deal.
I mean, it's no big deal. He dropped a 50-piece nugget. Listen, Joel Embiid he makes a coach's job easier. I mean, coach, would you agree with that? I mean, when you got the biggest, baddest man in the league, things like that happen. You can sleep well at night. You know what I mean? You don't have to flip your pillow, fold it over, and add another one because you got the best guy in the league. With that being said, Joel makes the game easier for everyone. Makes the game easier for his coach, his comrades on the court. He does not make it easy for the opposition, as you can tell. He makes it more frustrating, which makes them more frustrated, and they get fouls, and it doesn't help that he's an incredible foul shooter. With that being said, Joel Embiid has displayed a rhythm this year of continued dominance, and it seems like something has changed within him that it makes the game a little bit more easier to him. And maybe it's maturity, meaning not far as behavior, but meaning the ability to see the game in slow motion. Once a player does that, it makes the game a lot more easier for them.
It's interesting because in years past where he would have this layoff, we would have been really concerned about a slow start. He had 26 points at the half, so I don't think that there was any concern about that. I'm going to stop saying it. We're not going to even
he probably heard me.
I set you up for that.
Your assistant called you, Joel, and told you something like, Mark said, you going to start off slow.
You're going to be rusty.
Come on, Hans, I love you, bro.
He said it.